Hey guys, welcome. My name's Tony, and today we're going to be going over a grounding sequence. So, to start, let's go ahead and start in our easy seated position. Sitting up nice and tall. Shutting down our eyes, knowing that you're in a safe space. And begin to settle into your breath. Finding that natural rhythm that only you can find. Letting it flow uninterrupted through your lungs. Feeling the belly button pull in towards your spine with each inhale in. And with each exhale, feeling your abdomen expand. Grounding down through the sit bones. Finding length from the crown of the head all the way down the spine. And finding those roots into your mat. Visiting a mantra if you have one. Maybe a small prayer. Enjoying this time just to be. Focusing on keeping your mind as clear as possible. Trying to focus only on the breath. Let's slowly begin to bring awareness back to the body, wiggling our fingers, slowly blinking our eyelids open. We'll meet back into that neutral, easy seated position. So to start, we're going to go ahead and have the right shin in front of the left, sitting up nice and tall. Releasing those palms next to the body, palms side up. Finding a big inhale in. Circle sweeping those arms up above the head, meeting in prayer hands. And on that exhale out, we're going to interlace those fingers and place those palms behind our head and press head into palms, opening up that chest. From here, we're going to go ahead and roll those elbows together, shoulders together, tucking chin to chest. Letting the head hang heavy. We'll slowly release that neck back to neutral, keeping those fingers interlaced behind our head. And we'll twist over to the right. Keeping that chest as open as possible. Keeping the sit bones grounded down. And we'll release back towards center. Unwind our arms and release them next to the body. Let's go ahead and switch legs. Left leg in front, right behind. adjusting our sit bones if needed, flipping our palms, finding an inhale in, circle sweeping those arms above our head, meeting in those prayer hands. And on that exhale out, we'll interlace those fingers, placing them behind the head, opening up our chest, neck towards the front of the room. And we'll slowly drop chin to chest, rounding those elbows forward, dropping the head low. Releasing back towards neutral, keeping those hands interlaced behind our head. And we'll twist over to the left. Hinging through the waist. Unwinding ourselves back towards center. Releasing those interlaced palms down next to the body. And we'll go ahead and meet in a tabletop position. Palms pressed into the mat, fingertips wide, knees underneath hips, belly button pulled into spine. And to start, we're going to go ahead and ground down through that left palm and extend that right arm up towards the sky, stacking the shoulders, opening up our chest towards the right side of the room. And then we'll thread that right arm underneath our left, rolling over to our right ear, cheek. And then we're going to go ahead and walk those left fingertips forward. Extending that left leg behind us, staying curled up onto those toes. And then maybe lifting up that leg if you like to find some balance, because we could all use some more balance in life. Slowly lowering that left leg if you extended it back up, staying curled onto those toes. And we're going to walk those left fingertips closer towards the face, pressing into that left palm, extending that right arm back up towards the sky, opening up that chest. And then we'll extend that right arm in front of the body, kicking up off of those toes, and find a tabletop spinal balance. From here, we're going to bend our elbow and knee and curl nose to knee, arching the spine, and extend back out to that tabletop spinal balance. Knee and elbow together, and extend back out. Elbow and knee, curling, and extend back out to that spinal balance. Bending that left knee, pointing those toes. Let's reach around with that right hand, finding that tiger pose, pressing foot into hand. Before extending back out to that spinal balance. Releasing that right palm down to the mat, bending that left knee, meeting back into that tabletop, and we'll walk those hands out. Dropping that chest down, finding a puppy pose. You're welcome to stay here on your third eye, but if you like to take it further, we'll slide those palms forward, finding balance on that chest. Uncomfortably comfortable. Remember to breathe and not to hold your breath. And from this puppy pose, we're going to release onto our stomachs, finding a crocodile. Just myself. Releasing all the way down. Walking those palms close to the body. And let's go ahead and curl up into a cobra. Releasing it back down. And up into a cobra. Release it back down. And up into a cobra. Releasing it down. Let's go ahead and curl those toes under and meet in a down dog. From that down dog, we're going to center that right heel and extend that left leg up, finding a three-legged down dog. Keeping a micro bend in that right knee if needed. Trying to keep your hips square towards the front of the room. We're going to bend that left knee, opening up our hip. Let's roll through some ankle circles in one direction. Pausing and reversing. Pausing, and we'll go ahead and pull that left knee in, nose to knee. And plant that left heel down, dropping that back knee, and we'll extend those arms up, finding a low lunge. Flipping those palms, releasing them down to the mat, framing that left foot, curling up onto those right toes. We'll meet in a high lunge. Flipping those palms, we'll go ahead and release those palms down, kick it back into that three-legged down dog. And we'll pull that left leg underneath that right arm, releasing that right arm up. Finding fallen triangle, opening up our chest towards the right side of the wall. Releasing that right palm down to the mat. Extending that left leg back up towards the sky. We'll go ahead and release that left heel down to the ground. Bending our knees, and we'll meet in a tabletop position. Once more. Centering that right palm, we'll go ahead and extend that left arm up towards the sky. Gazing at those fingertips, grounding down through that right palm. And we'll thread that left arm underneath the right. Walking those right fingertips forward, extending right leg behind us, excuse me. And then from here, we'll go ahead and extend that right leg up, trying to find balance. From here, we're going to go ahead and drop those right toes down to the mat, walking those right fingertips closer towards the chest, pressing into that right palm. We're going to go ahead and extend that left arm out, kicking up off of those right toes, finding that spinal balance. And from here, we're going to bend elbow and knee, pulling them together, arching that spine. And extend back out. Pulling them together, nose to knee. And extending back out. Pulling them back together. And extending back out, finding that tabletop spinal balance. Bending that right knee, pointing those toes. Let's reach around for the top of the foot, finding tiger pose, pressing foot into hand. And then we're going to extend back out into that spinal balance. Releasing that left hand down. And then we'll go ahead and bend that right knee, releasing it back down into a tabletop position, walking those hands out and dropping it back into that puppy pose. Finding balance on that third eye or sliding forward. From here, let's go ahead and meet into a Sphinx pose. Pressing into those forearms. Opening up the chest. Releasing down. Walking those palms close to the chest. We'll go ahead and release up into an up dog. And back down onto those forearms. This time we're going to go ahead and press up. And release back down into the Sphinx pose. Pressing into those palms, seal pose. And back down into Sphinx. This time we're going to release back down onto that crocodile pose. Curling up onto those toes, walking those palms close to the body. And let's go ahead and release into a down dog. Founding that down dog once more, grounding down through that left heel. We'll go ahead and extend that right leg up, finding that three-legged down dog. Bending that right knee, opening up our hip. And we're going to go ahead and roll through that right ankle in one direction, followed by the other. Pausing, and we'll pull that right knee in towards our nose. Before planting that right heel down, dropping that back knee, we'll find a low lunge. Flipping our palms. Let's go ahead and release those palms down, framing that right foot, curling up on those back left toes, and we'll meet in a high lunge. From this high lunge, we'll flip our palms, releasing those palms down, kicking back into that three-legged down dog. And then we'll pull that right leg underneath the left arm, grounding down through that right palm, opening up our chest towards the left side of the room, extending that left arm up, fallen triangle. Releasing that left palm down, kicking that right leg back behind you. And then we'll release the right toes back down to the mat. Rolling forward, bending those knees, meeting back into a tabletop position. We'll drop it down, find a good cow pose. Up, into a cat pose. And back down, into a cow pose. Up, into cat. And back down, into cow pose. Back up, into cat. Neutral tabletop. We'll curl up onto our back toes, finding down dog. And make our way to the front of the mat, meeting in a forward fold. Grounding down through the heels, keeping a micro bend in the knees if the hamstrings are still tight. Heel toeing our feet apart slightly, bending our elbows, grabbing for opposite elbows. And let's go ahead and put a micro bend to those knees. And rock from side to side, finding ragdoll. From that ragdoll, we'll meet back towards center, releasing the bend in those elbows, finding that forward fold, bending our knees and slowly rolling up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Circle, sweeping our arms all the way up, meeting a prayer hands at the top, and bring them down towards heart center. We'll meet in that mountain pose, pedaling it out. Before we go into our next sequence. So, for the next one, we'll meet back into that mountain pose. We're going to ground down through that left heel, keeping a micro bend in the left knee if needed or wanted. Bending the right knee, and we're going to reach around for the top of that right foot. Find a quad stretch. Now you're welcome to stay here. But if you like to take it further, we'll go ahead and press foot into hand. Slowly hinging the chest forward, maybe even extending that left arm. Finding fallen dancer. From fallen dancer, I'm going to release the right hand from the top of the foot, releasing that left hand down, extending that left leg behind me, toes flex, right arm extends up, half moon, opening up my chest towards the right side of the room, using a block underneath that left hand if one to be needed. And you're welcome to stay here, or we'll bend that right knee, reaching for the top of the foot, finding bow pose, pressing foot into hand. Releasing that hand from the top of the foot, moving back into that half moon pose. And we'll bend that front knee, dropping that back foot, meeting in a warrior two. Arms out for 2. From that warrior two, we're going to reach with those left fingertips, releasing that left palm down to the ground. Right arm extends up. Extended side angle. And back into that warrior two. Reaching forward those left fingertips. Releasing the bend in that front knee. We'll release that left hand down, opening up that chest towards the right side of the wall. Triangle. Bending that front knee, warrior two. Circle sweeping those arms down, framing that front foot, flipping those back toes, meeting into that runner's lunge. And we'll go ahead and step it out to the front of the mat, meeting in a forward fold. Half lift and fold. Bending our knees, circle sweeping our arms all the way up, meeting in prayer hands at top, and bring them down to heart center. And then we'll go ahead and meet in that mountain pose, grounding down through that right heel, bending that left knee. And we'll go ahead and reach for the top of that left foot, finding that quad stretch. Remembering that your balance is different every day on each side. So don't be embarrassed if you stumble or fall on my team. Pressing foot into hand, let's find that fallen dancer. Maybe extending that right arm up. And then from here, we'll bend that right knee, releasing that right hand down, extending that left leg behind us, left arm up, flexing those toes, opening up our chest towards the left side of the room, half moon. Bending the knee, reaching for the top of the foot, finding that bow pose. And then we'll begin to extend that left leg back out, followed by that left arm. And then bending the front knee, we'll meet in warrior two. Dropping those back toes, extending those arms. Extending those right fingertips forward, releasing that right palm down, left arm up, extended side angle. Releasing back up into that warrior two. Releasing the bend in the front knee, extending those right fingertips forward, releasing them down. Left arm up, triangle pose. Bending that front knee, warrior two. Circle sweeping those arms down, framing that front foot, flipping those back toes, meeting in that runner's lunge. And then we'll go ahead and step it up into a forward fold. Half lift and fold. Bending our knees, circle sweeping our arms all the way up. Meeting in prayer hands up top and bring them down towards heart center. From here, we're going to go ahead and center that left foot, keeping those prayer hands to heart center. And we'll extend that right leg behind us, finding balance on those toes. And slowly hinge forward, keeping those prayer hands at heart center. Right leg extended behind you. Warrior 3 with prayer hands to heart center. Releasing those hands down to the mat, bending that front knee. We're going to go ahead and place that right leg down to the mat. Circling that left arm behind us, right arm extends up, bending that elbow. We'll twist over towards the left. Finding that Lord of Fish. Right hand goes up and over. Left hand goes up and over. We'll go ahead and kick it back into that Warrior 3 legs. Releasing down into that forward fold. Bending our knees, circle sweeping our arms all the way up. Meeting in prayer hands at top and bring them down towards heart center. And then we'll extend that left leg behind us. Finding balance on those toes. Keeping those prayer hands to heart center.